right, hello everyone. Today we are going to look at solving equations with one variable as a review, and then we'll gradually, as we go through the unit, we'll change the difficulty level. All right, first, a step in solving an equation. First thing you have to do, you have to make sure you have to isolate the variable on one side of the equation. And what does that mean? That means sometimes you have to add, subtract, or whatever the operation is. You may have to do one or more operation, and the key is you always have to make sure that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other side of the equation as well. All right, let's look at the very basic example. 3x equal to 4. We want to solve for x, and in here I wrote down for you to review, set up inverse operations, because it's going to come handy. So addition and subtraction, they're inverse operation of each other. Okay, so that because we have to undo what is happening by using the inverse operation. Multiplication and division, they're inverse operation of each other. So in here we have 3 times x equals to 4. We need to isolate x on its own, and we have a 3 that's being multiplied by x, so that 3 has to go away, and the only way we can do that, because it's 3 times x, we need to use the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. That means we're going to divide this side by 3, but whatever we do to one side, we got to do it to the other side, so we have to divide 4 by 3 as well. And in this case, 3 divided by 3 is 1, so x becomes isolated, and 4 divided by 3, and there's no need for a calculator or anything like that. 430, this is a beautiful number, just let it be, and this is the answer. Okay, look at example B. We're just going to go through that. Now we need to isolate x on its own, but to do that we need to make sure first we have to get rid of plus 3, not the 2. Okay, 2 beside the x, that coefficient of x, we have to get rid of that last. So first we have to get rid of 3. That's a plus 3. The inverse operation of a plus is negative or minus. So subtract 3 from both sides. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you got to do it to the other side. And then what we will get is 2x equals to 1, because 3 minus 3, that's 0. And then 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, so now that we have 2x equals to 1, last step, all right, as example 1, divide both sides by 2, because 2 is being multiplied by x, and x is 1 over 2, and that's 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times x is x, and 1 over 2 is 1 over 2. Let's look at example C. A little bit more difficult, but same idea again. This time you have to actually get rid of the brackets. That means you have to use the distributive law and just expand everything, and then you go through the isolating the variable. So go right ahead and do that, and remember just this, we've done this before many times, and watch for the positive and negative sign. When you multiply, that's what you will get, both sides, left and right. And in this case now we have to isolate x, but we have to make sure that all x's that are on one side and the non-x terms are on the other side. Now left and right doesn't really matter, but they have to be separated. So let's move or collect all x's and put them on the left hand side, and in this case we have to deal with minus 5x, so we have to add 5x to both sides. We're going to do one thing at a time. So in this case we're going to get 8x minus 12 equals to, that becomes 0, so the only thing is left is minus 15. Now we have to isolate x, but we have to get rid of this 12 first. Is a minus 12, that means you have to add 12 to both sides always, and this becomes 8x equals minus 12 plus 12 is 0, minus 15 plus 12 is minus 3, and the very final step is divide everything by the coefficient of x,